Right. Good morning, yogis, and namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me today to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. So let's just take a moment or two to get present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position. Sit with your spine and back of your neck nice and long and tall and straight, opening your chest, opening your diaphragm. And then gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale, and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention, I'd like to talk about the third limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. You know, I do a lot of numbers here. So the third limb of the 8 limbs of yoga is the asanas. And most of us were introduced to yoga by taking a yoga class where you, excuse me, wiggled in to, and then you wiggled out of these poses. And those are actually the asanas. The Tadasana is mountain pose. You have, there's all the poses that we do have a Sanskrit name with asana attached as the suffix. So Tadasana is mountain pose, Uttanasana is forward fold, Virabhadrasana is warrior. So everything has this asana ending to it. But asana actually is the Sanskrit for seated. And its original intent was, thousands of years ago, was to prepare the body for meditation. And they would either do these asanas, the seated position, to get comfortable. They called it being seated within oneself. So you're seated, preparing yourself for meditation. So your body and your mind become still. And so then fast forward a couple 100,000 of years, we have now extracted the asanas from the 8 limbs of yoga, and it's become a form of exercise, basically. The 8 limbs are still there, but I think more Western yoga focuses on that third limb of the asanas. So now it's more about keeping us mobile. That's a great term, like the umbrella for having a balance, having flexibility, and having strength. Those 3 things combined intend or speak to us being mobile. So that's what we're going to work on today. I'm going to point out things to you that that are kind of hidden oftentimes, but we're going to work on those three things that we just talked about: flexibility, strength, and balance. But I don't want you to lose sight of the fact that its placement in the 8 limbs of yoga, being third, comes after the yamas and then niyamas. And we've talked the last couple of weeks again about the yamas and the niyamas. And don't lose sight of those. Like, for example, in the yamas, kindness and non-excess, bring those to your asana practice. And niyamas, contentment, self-discipline, self-study, bring that to your asana practice. So again, we're extracting that out of the 8 limbs, the asana practice, but bear in mind what came before that, the teachings of and the guidelines of the yamas and the niyamas. So for the pranayama, the breathing technique, I'm going to focus again on the Ujjayi breath, which is called ocean breath. It's called a victorious breath. There's a bunch of names for it, but it's basically, I would love to see that it becomes the soundtrack for your asana practice. It has that sound in the back of the throat that helps guide you in when you're doing your poses. And the other benefits of it is actually slows down your breathing so that you're more in sync with your poses. And it's layered on top of the complete breath, the Dirja breath, which is from your stomach up to your ribs, up to your chest for the inhale, and then exhale, letting it flow away from your chest and away from your ribs and away from your stomach. So let's just, again, take a few moments to revisit the Ujjayi breath. And again, I hope that it can become second nature to you on your yoga mat and become the soundtrack for this. So incorporating that full breath from the tummy up to the chest and down again, we're going to make the audible sound through our mouth. So inhale, like Darth Vader, and then exhale, like you're fogging up a mirror. Now close your mouth, and this is how you should practice on your mat. And just keep that same feeling in the back of your throat that you just experienced. All righty, well practiced. So there's an app that I use and have been using for years called Yoga Studio. And it breaks down, it has this piece of the app that has all the poses and a written explanation on how to get in and how to get out, what the benefits are. And it also focuses on ability, the focus of the asana, the pose, and what type it is. So it's for ability, there's beginner, intermediate, advanced, and master. So I just want you to know that in our classes, I do beginning and intermediate. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 advanced poses, but I kind of question whether they're really advanced or not, like humble warrior. I consider the advanced poses like headstands, handstands, a lot of arm balances to be pretzel poses, and I don't get into pretzel poses. So just so you know, I think we can achieve the benefits of yoga without going nuts about it. And then the focus, I spoke to a bit ago, the balance, strength, flexibility, and relaxation. So those are kind of the intentions of the pose. And then the types of poses, there's seated, there's standing, reclining, And those have often twists or bends, like a back bend, standing back bend, or a forward fold. That would be a standing fold, bend forward. And then there's also inversions, and we do a few inversions. Last week we did legs up a wall, and bridge actually is considered an inversion, where you're getting your heart up above, or your hips above your heart. So those are the basics of asanas. There's the ability, beginner, intermediate, focus, balance, strength, flexibility, and types: seated, standing, so forth. So let's start in the what's called easy pose, and that's a relaxation pose. And I'm going to point out what these poses, according to this app, their focus is. So the easy pose is a relaxation pose, and that's the one we do for meditation. You're seated upright. It's just where you are right now, seated upright, long spine, back of your neck. Your legs are crossed at the ankles or at the shins, and just very comfortably relax there. And we're going to do our meditation now. And for the mudra, the Gyan mudra is like the traditional mudra. So you bring your thumb and your pointer fingers together and extend the other three. And you can rest those on your knees or on your lap, palms up. And that's like one of the most traditional poses, asana for your hands, if you will, that there is. And it improves your focus, your concentration. And they actually call it the mudra of knowledge too. So let's just take a few moments and meditate, and I will meet you on the mat. You may open your eyes now. We'll begin our asana practice. So in your seated position, bring your fingertips to the mat, and we'll do some sun breaths. And this is still in that relaxation pose. So bring your hands up over your head with a deep inhale, using that ujjayi breath, and then exhale through your nose, ujjayi breath. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. And exhale, down. We're going to put in a twist to this. So this is a adding flexibility to our pose. So inhale, lift the arms up overhead. And then turn to the left side of your mat. Bring your hands down. Right hand goes on your left knee. Left hand goes right behind your hips. Take a deep inhale and exhale. And then inhale, lifting your arms up overhead, sweeping them over to the other side of the mat, right side coming down, left hand to right knee, right hand behind your hips, creating that nice straight back. Deep inhale, exhale, inhale, lifting the arms up, twist to the left side of the mat, bring your hands down, inhale, exhale, inhale, lift up, and one last time over to the right. Bring your hands down, nice straight back, inhale, exhale. Then come back to the center and bring the soles of your feet together for cobbler's pose. This is about flexibility as well. So you can grab onto your toes, either by interlacing your fingers and wrapping them around your toes, or hang on to your ankles. Nice straight back. Elbows are pointing toward your knees. Then hinge at the hips, come forward, pointing your knees, your elbows toward your knees, and leaning as comfortably forward as you can get. And then exhale, come back up. Inhale, come forward again. Exhale, back up. Inhale one last time, forward. And then exhale, come back up. Then cross your right leg in front of your left leg, and you can have them cross at the ankle, or if it's comfortable for you to lay them one beside one another, that would be nice. And then we're going to do a seated forward fold. So gently walk your hands out in front of you, hinging at the waist. Just come down as what's comfortable for you. Again, remember those yamas and niyamas: kindness, contentment, self-study. Only come to that sweet spot between effort and relaxation. And then walk your hands back up. We'll do that one more time. So gently walk your hands out in front of you and come down as far as what's comfortable for you. And then walk them back up. We're going to roll down on our mat, so you can roll down one vertebrae at a time. For the express method, I'm going to go one vertebrae this morning. And then stretch out your legs and come into mountain pose, Tadasana. This is reclined mountain pose. So your toes are pointing up to the sky as if you're standing on your feet. The legs are nice and straight. Your shoulders are nice and relaxed and rolled back into the mat. Then we're going to slide our right foot up the inner part of our left leg till it comes, right foot comes to your left knee. And then hop that foot on top of your left knee so that your right ankle is sitting right above the knee. And you can guide your right knee toward the left side of the mat. To the right side of the mat. Right knee, right side of the mat. And then slide your left foot up so that you come into reclined pigeon pose, this beginner portion of it. And this may be just fine. You may want to just work with your right knee, pointing it a little bit more straight to the right side of the mat by guiding it that way. And if you like, you can lift your left leg up, bringing it toward your chest, wrapping your fingers around the back of the thigh, and pull that left leg a little bit closer for a nice stretch. And if you'd like even a more forceful stretch, you can wrap it around the shin and pull that left leg towards you. And this obviously is a flexibility move. And then we'll put that left foot back down on the mat and slide it to the bottom of the mat. And then bring the right knee up so it's pointing up to the sky, and your right foot is sitting on top of your left leg. And with your left hand, bring it to your right knee and guide your right knee to the left side of the mat so that you have a nice gentle twist. So this is like a mountain pose with a twist. Then send your knee back up and bring it back. Extend your leg back down to the mat, come back into reclined mountain pose. And we'll do that on the other side. So slide your left foot up the inner part of your right leg, guiding your left knee to the left side of the mat. And then take your left ankle and sit it on top of your right leg, right above the knee. So your legs are in a figure four. And bring your right foot up so it's on the mat, reclined pigeon pose. And again, this might be fine, and you can just experiment with getting your left knee a little bit more straight with the left side of the mat. Or you may want to bring your right leg toward your chest, interlacing your fingers behind the thigh, or interlacing your fingers on front of your shin. Remembering your Ujjayi breath. And then bring that right foot back down to the mat and slide your right foot down to the end of the mat. And bring your left knee so it's pointing up to the sky. And then with your right hand, placing it on your left knee, guide your left knee to the right side of the mat. All flexibility moves. I just felt and heard a nice pop in the back, my lower back. Oh, it felt good. Then bring both your legs back down, and actually, if you want, you can roll up, or we're going to come up to a tabletop position, so you can place your hands under your knees and roll back up, crossing your legs, coming into a tabletop, or make your way to tabletop, whichever way is comfortable for you. So tabletop is the wrist is right below the shoulder, knees right below the hips. Fingers are spread out, so you are putting equal weight into your hands, equal weight into your knees, tucking your navel toward your spine. This is actually, they consider a balance pose, and I can get that if you're really focusing on getting your weight evenly distributed in your hands and in your knees, that balancing the weight of your body makes sense to me. Excuse me. And then we're going to exhale Rounding our back, dropping our head and tailbone down. For cat, inhale, using your Ujjayi breath, come up, lifting your head and tailbone up. For cow, exhale, rounding the back, dropping tailbone and head down. Inhale, lifting the head and tailbone up. For cow, exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. And then using your Ujjayi breath, just continue at your own pace. Inhaling and exhaling, synchronizing the movement to your breath. Both of these poses are considered strength poses. And come back to the center, back to tabletop. Bring your two knees together so that they're touching under your torso. And then lift the right leg up behind you, pointing the toes to the back of the mat. And lift your left arm up, pointing your fingertips to the top of the mat, to bird dog. You're going to inhale, pointing your toes. Exhale, flexing your foot so the toes are pointing down. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. One last time. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Bring both leg and arm back down. We'll do that on the other side. This is a strength move or pose. So inhale, bringing your left leg up. Again, try to keep balance in the front. Hands, then lift your right arm up. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. 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 One last time. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. And bring both back down. Now we're going to kick out our left foot to the outside of our mat. Extend our right foot down to the bottom of the mat. Your left wrist should be right below your left shoulder. This is a modified plank pose. And this is about strength. So inhale, sweeping your hand up and overhead. You can guide your eyes up to your fingertips if that's comfortable. And then bring your hand back down. You sweep your hand back up to the sky, and this time lift your leg up as well. And then sweep your hand down, bringing your leg down. And one last time, sweep your hand and your leg up. And then sweep them back down. We'll do that on the other side. So kick your right leg out. Extend your left leg to the bottom of the mat. Left or right wrist is below your right shoulder. Sweep your hand up. Guide your eyes up to it if that's comfortable. And then sweep your hand back down. Sweep your hand up, lifting your leg up. And then bring your hand back down. And then one last time, sweep the hand and the leg back up. And bring that back down. Come back to tabletop. Tuck your toes under. Walk your hands back to come to a squat. And that's a strength pose. Pushing down, lifting up into mountain. So for mountain pose, again, Tadasana, Toes are pointing to the edge of your mat. Open up your toes, spread them wide apart, lifting them up off the mat, and then bring them down onto the mat, lifting your heels up off the mat. And then come down, root yourself into the mat. Legs are straight, soft, gentle bend in your knees. Navel's tucked to your spine. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Crown of your head's reaching up to the sky. And this is considered a balance pose. I kind of thought it was relaxation, but it's balance, which makes sense. You want to equally distribute your weight on both feet and balance your body that way. So we're going to inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. And exhale, bending your knees, hinging at the hip, come down, forward fold, placing your hands on the mat. Generous bend in your knees to get your lower back comfortable. And all the forward folds are all about flexibility. So inhale, sweeping your hands up your shins to half forward fold, straightening your back, sending your gaze out just ahead a little bit. Opening your heart, opening your chest. And then forward fold, hinge from the hips, bringing your head down toward the ground. And inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up, overhead. And then come up onto your tippy toes for palm tree. And this obviously is a balance pose. So sweep your hands, kind of maintain your balance up on your tippy toes. And then bring your heels down, your hands back down, your torso back down to forward fold, bending your knees, keeping that comfortable spot in your back. Sweep your hands up to half forward fold, straightening out your back. And then forward fold, bringing the crown of your head down toward the mat. And sweep your hands from the mat all the way up overhead, keeping them up over your head. Bring your right hand to your right thigh and slide it down toward your right knee. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, left hand comes to the left leg, slide it to your left knee. Inhale, come back up. Right hand down, slide it to your right knee. Inhale, come back up. And last, left hand down to your left thigh, slide it to your left knee. These side stretches are flexibility moves. And then back up. And then forward fold, bringing your hands down toward the mat. Knees bent, that's comfortable for you. Inhale, halfway up. Half forward fold, flat back. Forward fold, crown toward the ground. And inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up, overhead. And then bring them out in front of you. Come to shoulder height and go into chair pose, which is a strength pose. So bend your knees, lowering your hips toward the mat. You want to keep your knees behind your toes so you can see your toes. And if you're able to get your thighs so that they're parallel with the mat, that's the ultimate position on this. Then inhale, come back up. Then bring your hands out again. We'll try this 2 more times. So then lower your hips down toward the mat. Again, focusing on your toes, being able to see your toes. Navel's tucked to the spine. Inhale, come back up. And that is an important part of chair pose, tucking your navel to your spine. One last time, arms up, Tuck that navel in consciously, and lower your hips. And then come back up. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. And bending your knees to your comfort level. Inhale, halfway up, half forward fold. Exhale, forward fold. All these flexibility poses for forward folds. And then sweep your hands all the way up overhead. And then bring your hands to the back of your hips for supported back bend. And this is a strength move too. So we'll, fingertips pointing down, shoulders are relaxed and rolled back, chin is tucked to your chest, and drop your shoulders back gently to your comfort level. Remembering to breathe your Ujjayi breath. And then come back up. Inhale, sweeping your hands up overhead. Come into a forward fold, bringing your hands down to the mat. Inhale, halfway up, half forward fold. Exhale, forward fold. Bringing your hands down to the mat. Step both feet back into downward dog. Fingers are spread wide apart. The weight of your body should be in your fingertips, not in your wrists. Arms are straight. Chest is reaching toward your thighs. Knees are bent, or you can be pedaling around, walking your dog. And this is a strength pose. So inhale, we're gonna bring our right knee up to our right elbow and push off a little bit with your left foot when you do that. So inhale, pushing off with your left foot, bring that right knee up to the right elbow. Strength move. And then bring that back. Join the other foot, pedal out a little bit. Inhale, bring that right knee up to the right elbow again. And then back to your foot. Pedal out a little bit. And on the third time, we're going to bring that right foot up between our hands, come into runner's lunge. So inhale, bring the right foot up. Land it between your hands, bring it between your hands. And we're in runner's lunge, which is a strength move as well. So knees right above the ankle. Left leg is nice and straight. Left heel's pushing to the back of the mat. We're going to plant our right hand, or left hand down rather, into the mat and sweep the right hand up to the sky for a twist. And then bring that right hand back down. Bring your right foot back to meet the left foot and come into plank. Plank is a strength move. Wrists right below your shoulders. Fingers are spread out. And legs are active, heels are pushing to the back of the mat. And your navel's tucked to your spine, elevating your hips slightly. And that's a strength move, obviously. Then we're going to lift our right leg up, bring it over the top of your left leg, and place it back down on the mat, and come into side plank. Now, an alternative for this is to bring your left knee down and do the modified side plank we did this morning. But if you're game, you can bring your right leg up, bring it over to the other side of your left foot, and then sweep your right hand up to the sky, and that strength move becomes a balance move. And then bring that back down, come back to plank, Then come down to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping your elbows tucked to your ribs. And then cobra, that's tied with this, what we call baby cobra. So just lift your hands off the mat, and kind of lift your head up and create a gentle back bend. And this is for flexibility. And then bring your hands down to the mat beneath your shoulders and gently push down, bringing your chest up, keeping your hips on the mat, elbows tucked to your ribs for cobra. And this is flexibility. And then bring your torso back down to the mat, keeping your hands where they are. The tops of your feet nice and anchored in the mat. Push down into your arms and come up to up dog so that your whole body's off the mat. And this becomes a strength move. And then lower your knees to the mat. Lower your hips to your ankles, stretching out into child's pose. And this is a relaxation pose. Yay! And then we'll come back up to tabletop, tuck your toes under, come back up to downward dog. And we'll do that on the other side. So just pedal out here for a moment. And then with a deep inhale, bring your left knee to your left elbow, pushing off with your right toes. And then back, bring your foot back to the other one. Pedal out a little bit more. Inhale, bring your left leg to your left elbow. And then back again to your right foot. Downward dog is a strength pose. And then the last one, we're going to bring that left foot between our hands. So inhale, bring the left foot up, coming into runner's lunge position. Knees over your ankle. Right leg is straight and active, pushing the heel to the back of the mat. We're going to plant our right hand down onto the mat and sweep our left hand up to the sky. And then come back down. Bring your left foot back to meet the right foot, coming into plank position. And again, you can do the modified plank here by putting your right knee down and lifting your left arm up to the sky. Or the side plank, lift your left leg up, cross it over the right. And then twist, leaning on your right arm, lifting your left arm up. And then come back down. That was a balance move. And then lowering to the mat, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Come to baby cobra. So lift your hands off the mat and create a gentle back bend by lifting your head up. Bring your hands back down to the mat, below your shoulders, tucking your elbows to your side. Push down to come up into cobra. Hips are anchored to the mat. And these two are considered flex moves. And then come bring yourself back down to the mat. Excuse me. Push down in the tops of your feet. Then push down into your hands and come up to up dog, which is a strength move. And then bring your knees to the mat, lowering your hips to your ankles, and come into the relaxation pose of child's pose. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, come up into downward dog. And slowly walk your feet up to your hands, coming into forward fold. And then gently lift up into mountain. So you can choose whichever side of the mat you want to turn to the long side, whatever sides works best for you. We're going to say, I'm just this one side today. And if you have blocks, you may want to use those. Short arms like me, they come in handy. So we'll come into a wide-legged stance. Your toes, big toes are pointing to the corners of your mat. You're open to the long side. Heels are tucked in 45 degrees. And we'll put our hands on our waist, gently bend our knees. And we're going to pivot from the waist and come over to like a half forward fold bend. And then this is where your block could come in handy. Where you place your hand either on the block or on the floor. And then bring your right hand up to the sky. So you're in a wide-legged stance, which is a balance pose, with a twist, which then makes it into a flexibility pose. And if you're comfortable with straightening your legs at this point, you can do so. And then bring your right hand down, switch hands. So again, your block or the mat works. Bring your left arm up to the sky. And if you're able to follow your hand with your gaze, that's great too. And then bring your left hand back down. Put your block to the side, because we may use that. Actually, we'll go to the side. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your waist, and come back up into a standing wide-legged stance. We're going to point our left foot to the top of the mat, pivot our back foot so that's at a 45 degree, and come into warrior two. So your chest and torso is open to the long side of the mat. Your front leg, knees over your ankle, be able to see your big toe, back foot, the back edge of your foot's nice and snug. You push down and out. This is a strength move. So bring your arms up to shoulder height. Then gently turn your head to look at your left fingertips. Feel that strength in your legs. Navel's tucked to the spine. Inhale, lift your left hand up to the sky, reverse warrior. And that's strength. And then bring your left arm down so it's resting on the top of your left leg, sweeping your right arm over to extended angle. And that is a flex move. Think of it as strength, but they're considering it a flex move. And then bring that right hand back up so you're back into warrior two. Straighten your front leg out. And then reach to the left, to the front of your mat, like you're reaching for a jar or a glass of water. perhaps. And then drop that left hand down to your left leg. And if you're able to slide it down, you can slide it down to a block or down to the mat, whichever is comfortable for you. And that's triangle pose. And triangle pose is a balance pose. And then come back up to warrior two, straighten out your legs, come back into wide-legged stance. We'll turn the right toes to the other side of the mat. So they're pointing to the top of the other side. Angling your back foot down. Open in your chest to the long side of the mat. Sweep your arms up to shoulder height. Then send your gaze over to your right fingertips. And then push down with your feet. Feel the strength of this pose. Lift your right hand up to the sky, lowering your left hand to the back thigh to reverse warrior. And then bring your right arm down to your right thigh, sweeping your left hand overhead, extended side angle. That flex pose. Then inhale, come back up, back into warrior two. Straighten out that front leg. Extend your right arm to reach for that glass of water, which sounds really good at the moment. Let's bring your right hand down to your leg, to your block, to the mat. Whatever is comfortable for you. Extending the left arm up to the sky. And this is a flex move, or did I say balance? Keep forgetting this one. It's a balance move. And then come back up. And then you can bring your feet together to mountain pose. Well done, everyone. So bring our pinky toes out to the edge of the mat, facing to the front of the mat. Angle your heels in at 45 degrees. We'll bring our hands, Anjali Mudra, to our heart center. And then slowly lower our hips down. Come into a wide-legged squat. Elbows come in between the legs, the knees rather. Torso snug in between your legs. And if you want a little bit more stretch, you can bring your palms toward the mat. And the wide-legged squat is a strength pose. And then come to sit on your mat. Come into staff position, which is a strength pose. So the staff position, legs are nice and straight and strong. Toes are flexed, with your feet are flexed, toes pointing up to the sky. And if you can make little fists, push down, raise your hips up, coming back down to feel your sit bones. You can put your hands alongside of your hips, really feel the strength of this pose. And pushing down, feel the strength in your core. And then bring your right knee up to the sky, kind of bring it toward your chest to hug, and then flip that right foot over your left leg so it's on the other side of your left leg. Wrap your left arm around your right leg, sending your right hand behind you, right behind your hips so that your back stays nice and straight and long. We'll come into sage pose, which is a flex pose. And if it's comfortable for you, you can turn your head to look over your right shoulder. And then turn back. Bring your right leg back down. Come back into staff pose. Find your sit bones again. Feel nice and strong and stable in this pose. And then we'll bring our left leg toward our chest. Give it a nice hug. Flip the left foot over your right leg, bringing it down to the mat. Wrap your right arm around your left knee, sending your left hand right behind your hips. And again, if you want an extra flex on this flex pose, you could try to send your head to gaze over your left shoulder. Then come back to center. We'll roll down the mat. Again, you could do one vertebrae or express method. I think I'm going to go with express method at this point. Bring your knees to your chest. Give a nice gentle hug. You rock your legs back and forth. Give your lower back a nice massage. And this is a pose that's a relaxation pose, the chest to knees. And if you think of it, it is the exact same pose as a child's pose. It's just upside down. So both of those are relaxation poses. So you wrap your hands around your right knee, extend your left leg out to the top of the mat, and let it hover above the mat with your navel tucked to the spine. So you feel your lower back coming down toward the mat. And then bring that left knee back up, hug both knees together. And then wrap your hands around your left knee, sending your right leg out. Flex your toes up to the sky. Let that leg hover above the mat. Lower back trying to reach the mat, snug into the mat. So that's, if you lower your leg, it's relaxation pose. But I think by just elevating your legs slightly, it becomes more of a strength pose because you could feel that strength in your legs and in your core. And bring that leg back up. And then we're going to exhale, lowering, or bring your arms out to the side, shoulder height. And we're going to exhale, lowering your knees to the right side of your mat. And gently turning your head to the left. Or recline twist. And they consider this a relaxation pose, which I will agree with, but also it's, to me, very much a flexibility move. And inhale, bring your head back to center, and then inhale, bring your legs back to center. And exhale, lowering your knees to the left side of the mat. And slowly turn your head to the right side to look at your right fingertips. And relax. And slowly turn your head back to center and inhale, lifting your legs back to center. And then extend them out to the bottom of the mat, preparing for Shavasana. And Shavasana is a relaxation pose. And it is considered the most important asana, most important pose of yoga. And the reason is you expended all this energy in your body and you need time for your body to rest, kind of like during the day you're running around and then at night you're sleeping. So it's a mini version of that. I also like to use the analogy that they talk about when you're roasting meats now. No offense to any of the vegetarians out there, but when you're roasting a meat, you're cooking it, and then you need to let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes before you start carving it, allowing all the juices to go back into the meat, back into the center. So it's kind of that idea as well. Just find yourself nice and relaxed, let your feet flop open. Go up, do a body scan up your legs, ankles to knees to hips, let them all relax. From the waist on up to the back of the neck, let your spine relax, let your lower back sink into the mat. Relax your arms with your palms open, maybe 45-degree angle from your body. Let your head relax, your jaw relax, eyes soften, thoughts are softened. Place a smile on your lips. And just let the nutrients of today's practice soak deep within you. I have a poem that I picked out on Thursday, and if you can bring your mind back to what it felt and looked like on Thursday, it might make more sense why I picked this one. Its title is To the Thawing Wind by Robert Frost. Come with rain, O loud southwester, bring the singer, bring the nester. Give the buried flower a dream, make the settled snowbank steam. Find the brown beneath the white. But wherever you do tonight, bathe my window, make it flow. Melt it as the ice will go. Melt the glass and leave the sticks, like a hermit's crucifix. Burst into my narrow stall, swing the picture on the wall. Run the rattled pages o'er, scattered poems on the floor. Turn the poet out the door.